Hi, I'm not sure whether the live video has started yet, but I am going to have a little sip of my coffee. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. It's lovely to see you. It's very bright in the sunshine today, except it's also just poured with rain and the clouds are coming over thick and fast. So I thought I'd get over to you while it was still lovely and super bright and lovely. It's one of those lovely sort of autumn days where it's sort of very blustery day, as Winnie the Pooh would say, which is kind of what it was like yesterday, a blustery day. I'm going to do another little kind of dip into my book because it's my book launch this week. And oh look, there we go, the sun is out and it's so lovely. It's my book launch this week, and because it's my book launch and and this is my page, then I am going to talk about my book. But I'm not just going to talk about my book because that would be really boring. I'm going to talk about all of the things that are inside my book. And one of the things inside my book is a little section or a little group of paintings and images that are to do with self-love. Gosh, it's really, really bright. I might have to just close my little shutter slightly just to stop that glare. There we go, that's better. Well, that's lovely. Still got a bit on my half and half, yin and yang. So I just wanted to share with you that my book is full of all sorts of things. It's this book, Calm Your Mind. If you haven't ordered your copy, you can pre-order it now. You'll get it in the US and North America on the 29th of October, and it's out in the UK on the 24th, which is why it's my book launch on Thursday. So it's very exciting. And I've told you this before, but inside the book, I've devised this kind of thing called a journey finder. And the journey finder are these little sort of buttons here, these little images, and underneath each of those is a little title, which could be something like acceptance, calm, courage, friendship, love, gratitude, hope, all sorts of things. And one of them is self-love. I'm going to close this slightly a little bit more. And self-love is so important in life because without self-love, I think it's hard to be a kind of 100% sort of confident, self-determining person. And if somebody's always kind of whittling away at you and making you feel less than you should be, and making your confidence less than it should be, and making you feel unworthy of things and not good enough, and you're not going to be able to do this, you're not going to be capable of that, why on earth are you thinking that? Keep your dreams out of this conversation. Let's just concentrate on what you can achieve, because that's ridiculous. There's no way you're going to be able to raise enough money to sail around the world, or there's no way you're going to be able to raise enough money, £1,000 to do your charity walk. No, I'm sorry, let's just start and do it. And always remember that love starts with self-love. I think from my experience anyway, it's almost impossible to have a meaningful relationship with somebody else unless you at least like yourself. And loving yourself, I'm not saying in a huge egotistical kind of me, aren't I wonderful, look everybody, aren't I the most amazing person in the world. I don't mean like that. I mean in a kind of subtle, understated, just self-aware that actually you're an okay human being and you are justified in all of the things that you think and do because of where that love comes from. And that love obviously should come from a meaningful and a good place. And so yes, that's what I think about self-love. Really, it took me an awful long time to even pretty much like myself. I always felt like I was never good enough. I was never somebody that anybody would be interested in. I can remember my mum saying to me when I was younger, and it really stuck with me. And I just hate it when things do that. These little sort of small things, flippant remarks perhaps from her, but for me it was like it's been in my head for a lifetime. No one's ever going to marry you if you're fat. No one's ever going to find you attractive if you look like that. What on earth do you think you look like? Why are you going out looking like that? You look like a tramp. Never ever ask a boy for their phone number. Always wait for them to come to you. Blah, 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 blah. All of these things. And I just think, so Mum, that's why you always ended up with the wrong types of relationships, because you never actually had the courage to talk to the people that you really liked. And you waited for the dodgy guys the ones that were really kind of cocky, dodgy guys to come up and to ask you out. It's not always good, is it? Anyway, self-love. Let's get back on track. So in my book, I've got, as I said, this journey finder, and there are some self-love spreads, pages, and some particularly beautiful ones. And I've got my little markers here because I'm going to show you. This is a lovely picture, a lovely painting. Well, actually, it might be a print by Maxfield Parrish. I don't know if you can see that. I'm hoping it's not too bright. I might just move that over there for now. Close that blind a little bit more so that you can see. But anyway, there we go. There is Maxfield Parrish, and he is a fabulous American graphic designer and printmaker. There we go. That's a bit better. And he did some really beautiful work. I think a lot of lovely, quite sort of magical actually, with their sort of gorgeous skies and sunsets and those lovely quite quaint kind of New England scenes, a lot of them in the snow, and a lot with these beautiful women on sort of hilltops or swings, or lots of gorgeous autumnal foliage. And this is a quote that I've put with this particular image, which is from Khalil Gibran, again one of my favourite writers. And because it's my book, you see, I get to choose what goes in it, which is so cool. The appearance of things changes according to the emotions, and thus we see magic and beauty in them, while the magic and beauty are really in ourselves. The appearance of things changes according to the emotions, and thus we see magic and beauty in them, while the magic and beauty are really in ourselves. So yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with that. As we go through life, as we kind of meander on this journey of life, we go through all these, we have this whole different kind of plethora of emotions, this whole kind of topography of emotions that we have to navigate. And as things change and as we see things for what they really are, we can actually then see the magic and beauty in them, because the magic and beauty in the things that we see is really the reflection, or perhaps the projection, of what's inside of us. And I think that's what he's saying. The appearance of things changes according to the emotions, and thus we see magic and beauty in them, while the magic and beauty are really in ourselves. I think that's true. I think I remember really a kind of, almost like a kind of headline moment in my life where I was in a really bad place and I was really unhappy in my marriage, and I just got my dog, my first dog, Cosmos. And I started taking him out into nature, out for these lovely walks. And I can remember from very early on taking him out into Richmond Park and into the woods and into the beautiful, beautiful parts of these lovely royal parks and things in London. I can remember feeling very, very connected with nature, and suddenly everything around me felt so beautiful. And I think that was me. That was when we were talking about sort of becoming yesterday. And I think that was me kind of becoming me. That was me really becoming who I was. And it was that connection with the beauty around me that really saw that there was actually beauty within me, even though it had not been recognised, I thought, by people in the real world, not just inside of me or inside my imagination. And I think that was really partly to do with a reflection, or as I said, a projection of the beauty that was around me. And actually probably that was what was really inside of me, just desperate to come out and to gain some kind of recognition. And as I go through my book, Calm Your Mind, I am going to also look at this wonderful poem by Maya Angelou, and a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous painting here, which is by Augustus John. And it's of this lovely young woman, and it's just beautiful. I love it. I think she just looks, I don't know, it's the head of a Jamaican girl, 1937. I just think she looks soulful, she looks knowing, she looks at peace, and she looks very calm, and I think she understands self-love by the look on her face. I think she's aware of that. And this is one of the last verses, I think, from Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud, I say. It's the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care, 'cause I'm a woman phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. And I think a lot of women are phenomenal, aren't we? I really think we are. When you look at all of the things that we have to do in our lives, whether it's running big companies, running our own creative enterprises, being artists, writers, musicians, whatever it is, therapists. We could be psychiatrists, psychologists, medics, lawyers. We could have families. We might be running families alongside all of those things, and a home. We may be single mothers. We may be married. We might have difficult marriages. We might have amazing marriages. We might never want to be married. All of those things, all the things we have to tackle, together with all of the major things that go on inside of our bodies, hormones, psychologically. I've got my dog down by my feet and he's trying to eat my socks. Sorry about that. Psychologically, mentally, physically, all of the things that change within us constantly. Plus we have to deal with multiple relationships within our families, complex relationships outside of our families, to do with friendships, to do with work, to do with colleagues, to do with all sorts of stuff. And very often, as women, we become the main carers for our elderly or sick relatives or friends. And I think, it's we should pat ourselves on the back for the amount of things that we manage to do. And it's really important that we continue self-love throughout all of that, because otherwise those things can really wear you down. I'm going to have another sip of my coffee. I still haven't found a nice enough mug to replace my other mug, by the way, that broke. I still haven't found one. I'm hoping that it's just going to come up right in front of my face and I will think, oh, that's my replacement mug. That's exciting. So that's it. So now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud, I say. It's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care, 'cause I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. Clementine. Just talking to my dog, I'm not talking to the ground. Stop it. He's trying to chew my trousers. There we go, and there's that lovely Augustus John painting again. Isn't it just beautiful? I love it. I think it would look lovely in my study, actually, on the wall. It's got that gorgeous, warm, kind of beautiful, kind of terracotta rhubarby colour in it. And as I go through my book, I realise actually there's a lot of power within the pages of it. I put it together and curated it and chose some of my favourite paintings and some of my favourite pieces of literature. And as I was saying yesterday, I think my first book for me was my real baby. But actually, when I come back to read this and look through this, it's really quite a beautiful book. Here's another lovely painting, a gorgeous, gorgeous painting. I don't know if you can see that. And I've always really loved it. I think she looks quite sad and quite sort of in repose, in sort of deep thought. And I'm wondering why. It's a Tangerian Beauty by Jose Tapiro Ibarro, or Ibayoro. I don't know how you pronounce that. But if you can see, I don't know if you can see up close. Can you see that? Look at her beautiful painting of those beautiful jewels and her gorgeous face and skin tone. It's absolutely spectacular painting. 1876 he painted it. This is Isak Dinesen, so we're sticking with a kind of African continent. Isak Dinesen I think she was Danish, and she wrote out of Africa, and she went and lived in Africa for a time. And I love the way she writes. It's very evocative and very, very beautiful. And this is a piece from her. Difficult times have helped me to understand better than before how infinitely rich and beautiful life is in every way. And that so many things that one goes worrying about are of no importance whatsoever. Difficult times have helped me to understand better than before how infinitely rich and beautiful life is in every way, and that so many things that one goes worrying about are of no importance whatsoever. There he is, my dog over there in the corner, chewing on something. So I think that's very true. I worry so much about things. I'm sure we all do. I worry about if I remember to put the rubbish out on a certain day. I worry about, have I run out of milk? I worry about my health. I worry about, Today I had to go and have some blood tests done. I was sort of worrying about that. I'm worrying about my leg. I'm worrying about this. I'm worrying about that. I've got my book thing coming up this week. And I think there are so many things that we fill our heads with and we worry about. And actually, what's the most important thing? The most important thing is that we're living, that we're alive, that we have a roof over our head, that we have people that we love and that care about us and that we can care for. And yeah, that we are mentally okay. I think those are the most important things. So difficult times have helped me to understand better than before how infinitely rich and beautiful life is in every way, and that so many things that one goes worrying about are of no importance whatsoever. Very true. Right, let's have a look at my other quote on self-love. This is a lovely painting. It's by another Scandi painter, Pekka Halonen. And I don't know if you can see it. It's a woman, very solitary woman, in a sort of dugout wooden canoe. And actually, it really reminds me a lot of some of Peter Doig's work. He's been doing a lot of work, painting a lot of paintings. He paints in, I think, in Trinidad. And he's a contemporary Scottish artist, British artist, spends a lot of time painting in Trinidad. And he is always painting these beautiful sort of watery, jungly kind of scenes, often at night. And he very often paints these sort of dugout canoes with these big reflections. And I just loved this painting. It gave me a real sense of calm and peace. And I just thought, what would I be doing? What would I be thinking if I was in this canoe, just sitting on this beautiful, still, calm river? Just, what is she doing? Knitting or something very peaceful and very calm? Almost like she's sort of completely at one with nature. Or maybe she's not knitting. Maybe she's got a little puppy or a little furry animal on her lap. But she's definitely very, very, very relaxed on that beautiful, very glassy, still lake. And I've chosen this lovely quote by Charlotte Bronte. I can live alone if self-respect and circumstances require me to do so. I need not sell my soul to buy bliss. I have an inward treasure born with me, which can keep me alive if all extraneous delights should be withheld, or offered only at a price I cannot afford to give. I can live alone if self-respect and circumstances require me to do so. I need not sell my soul to buy bliss. I have an inward treasure born with me, which can keep me alive if all extraneous delights should be withheld, or offered only at a price I cannot afford to give. Think about those Brontes and I think about all of those amazing female writers from that period, and I just think, goodness me, they were certainly ahead of their time. And I wonder how many publishing houses received manuscripts from writers, female writers, that they ignored because they were women. And how many brilliant books, brilliant manuscripts and books went unpublished. Be interesting to know, wouldn't it? And a lot of writers and authors of that period, including people like Charles Dickens, they used to publish in sort of weeklies and periodicals where they'd have published short stories, and they would publish them regularly. And that's how they became famous and well known. That's how people like, Dickens became a superstar because that's how he did his publishing. And then you've got people like Walt Whitman. Nobody wanted to publish, so he self-published. Leaves of Grass, can you believe it? I just think it's extraordinary. And how fortunate am I to have actually got my book published at my time in life, my second book, at my stage in life, so late in life, and for it to be, hopefully, a success. I think I'm incredibly fortunate. And it's not easy to do that. And it takes a lot of belief in yourself, I think, to put yourself out there and do that. And also this kind of fear of failure as well. So I think you do have to cultivate a sense of self-love, which is what I'm talking about today. to be able to have the confidence after having such a low self-worth, which is what I had. I mean, I was pretty much, if we have a scale of 1 to, say this is our scale here, it's a lovely colour sheet. So we've got 4. I was probably, in fact, let's turn it the other way up. I was down here in the almost in the 0, in the no colour zone. And slowly, I went up, and I'm probably about here now. I'm sort of halfway, just over halfway up in the way that I see myself in terms of how much more I value myself and how much more I value who I am and what I do. And I know a lot of people identify themselves by what they do, by their career, by their job, by what they've achieved. But as I've said so many times, I'm living my life in reverse. I've had my children, which is my biggest achievement, and my books are my second. So yeah, I'm really, really proud of them. So I am going to read another passage from my new book, Calm Your Mind, which is accompanying this gorgeous painting by John Lavery. I don't know if you can see that. This very free, lovely dancer. She's just absolutely throwing caution to the wind and really, really going for it. Moving like just amazing. Anna Pavlova, so very famous ballerina of the period. 1910 this was painted. And John Lavery was very well connected to the Glasgow Boys, who I was talking about yesterday, one of the most amazing British painters, and he painted a lot of sort of society paintings and paintings of famous people. Absolutely beautiful work. Again, a real painter of light. He would often paint things like women playing tennis in their long dresses and on lawn tennis, or people boating on the Thames and things like that. He painted some really beautiful, very peaceful paintings, so it's very well worth looking him up. So this is a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote from Self-Reliance and Other Essays, which was published in 1844. Be yourself, no base imitator of another, but your best self. There is something which you can do better than another. Listen to the inward voice and bravely obey that. Do the things at which you are great, not what you were never made for. Interesting, isn't it? Be yourself, no base imitator of another, but your best self. There is something which you can do better than another. Listen to the inward voice and bravely obey that. Do the things at which you are great, not what you were never made for. Another little look at that lovely painting there. John Lavery of Anna Pavlova. I think that's really, really fascinating, because we all think, or maybe, I don't know if we all do, but one would hope, let's put it that way, that inside each of us there lies something that's really unique, or more than just one thing that's really unique. It could be that we're amazing at crochet. It could be that we're having a fantastic obsession about cultivating new genuses of plants, or it could be that we're a brilliant baker, or we make the most fantastic sourdough, or we could be a world leader, or we could be amazing, have a fantastic voice sort of given to us from somewhere. There could be something in each of us, and I think it's really important to focus on what we're good at, and not to try to emulate or try to expect to be brilliant at something which we're not really made for, if that makes sense. I'll tell you a little story, and I'm sure I've told this so many times before. When my children were at school, my middle son, was really not brilliant at maths. I mean, both my boys aren't great at maths, but my middle son was just not. And so his teacher said to me, Lisa, I don't think that it's a good idea for him to stay in the class with everybody else. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do maths a sort of practical way with him. So is it okay if we take him to the local supermarket with £10, and one of the kind of special needs teachers will go with him, and with that £10 he can buy, or £20 or whatever, he can buy the ingredients to make some chocolate chip cookies. And I was like, okay. And she said, well, that's maths, that's practical maths. You've got your £10, you've got to buy your ingredients, you've got to make enough cookies for the 20 children in the class, plus the teacher, that's 21 cookies. and you've got to work out how you're going to do that. And I was like, yeah, fine, absolutely fine. And she said to me, you know what, when he's old enough, when he's older, when he's a young man or whatever, he will not need to do algebra and long equations. As long as he doesn't get ripped off by people, as long as he can understand when he goes to a supermarket what his bill is at the end of it, when he has to pay it, and what he's buying and how much everything costs. And he can work simple things out, like some percentages of things and, 10% or something or whatever it is. She said, that's all he needs. There's no point trying to force him to do something that he absolutely is never going to understand. His talents lie somewhere else. And I remember thinking, okay. And you know what? It was just amazing, because I'd say to Caspian, how was your day? And he'd say to me, Mummy, I had my favourite subject today. And I'd say to him, what's your favourite subject? And he'd say, maths. And I'd say, really? He said, yeah, it's amazing. I love maths. We went to the supermarket. I bought all the ingredients and made chocolate chipped cookies for all of my friends and the teachers. And we all had chocolate chipped cookies at the end of the class. And I thought, that's just so brilliant that he wasn't scared of maths. He wasn't afraid of maths. And he wasn't feeling that he was rubbish because he was doing something different to everybody else. And they were all doing their exams to get into these fancy schools or whatever they were doing. He was going down to the supermarket and buying the ingredients and baking cookies. And that's really, really, I think, a brilliant way to focus on our children and on people in general. Focus on what you're good at. Focus on what you're good at and stick with that. Because I can guarantee that somewhere inside you there's going to be something that you're really, really brilliant at and you really excel at. And focusing on the positives is far better than putting all your attention on the stuff you can't do and feeling dreadful and bad because you feel rubbish because you can't do something. So I know I'm never going to jump out of an aeroplane. I know that I am never going to be able to walk up Mount Kilimanjaro or do an Ironman or run a mile or any of those things. I know I'm not going to be able to do that. But I know the things I can do. I mean, I can train my dog to go into a hospice and make people happy who are terminally ill. I can plant a garden and pick flowers every single day of the year for my house. I can love people and make really good cakes. I can offer myself into the community. I can do this. I can make a book. I can make a book which is worthwhile. I can make a book that can calm your mind and make you feel better about yourself. And hopefully make people that you love feel better too. And if somebody had said to me, Lisa, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you're going to be writing books, you're going to be a kind of, I don't like the word influencer because I don't influence, but what would you say? I would say I was a inspirer or something on social media. I would say, well, I don't even like tech. I'm never going to be on computers or doing anything like that. And how am I going to write a book? I don't know how. How am I going to do that? I'd love to do it, but how am I going to do it? And I think when you really look deep inside what your skill set is and you really go for it and you really believe in what you're doing, things just take on a momentum of their own. And that's what I say. Anyway, I'm going to look and see if there's any questions here today or any comments from anybody. We've got 3 comments. Ola says hello. Elise says, wow, I just saw this and got on at the right time. Having such time worrying, it feels overwhelming. So thank you so much. Perfect timing. It's definitely a tough road trying to get published. So it's a fantastic achievement. I have your first book and so I'm so excited about the new one. Thank you, Elise. I think we all can feel very overwhelmed at times. I can feel very overwhelmed. I feel very overwhelmed mostly when I'm not feeling 100%. Mostly I feel overwhelmed when I'm not feeling 100% well. And I have to say that having had this problem with my leg over the last, well, it's 8 weeks today that it happened, my accident. That's 2 months ago. It really knocked me for 6 and it really, really deflated my confidence and it was not much fun. And I've just been back from my doctor. I'm now on my 4th course of antibiotics. The first two were the wrong ones, and I think they just want to keep me on another week's worth of antibiotics just to make sure that everything is tickety-boo, because they've redressed my dressing and it's looking much better, but it's still not happy, and there's still no way it's going to go open air. I mean, it's still got this dressing on it, and it's interesting. They use all these funny little things on wounds these days. They've used manuka honey, sterile manuka honey. They've used seaweed, some seaweed stuff. They've used this iodine stuff, like a gel thing, and now they're using this other gel which keeps the dressing sort of moist and promotes cell regrowth. So anyway, on that note, I think I'm probably going to love you and leave you. I think we've got another comment here. If there's anything else anybody would like to ask me, then please do. This is Libby, says it's perfect timing for me. She's in bed right now with anxiety and doesn't know what to do. She needs to paint, and she doesn't want don't want to work today. Oh, anxiety is, I totally empathise. Anxiety is horrendous. My eldest son really suffers from anxiety, and actually he had to come home a few months ago for a couple of weeks and just kind of step off the earth, step off life, and just be completely at home with me. And in fact, he was the one that wanted to get a puppy, because he said, "Mummy, it's going to really help me with my anxiety if we have a puppy, something that I can love and nurture and look after." I mean, he's 27, he doesn't live at home, but if it means that he's going to come home and feel better once he's at home, then that's fantastic in my book. So if you've got anxiety, shall I read you a couple of lovely poems? I think that would probably, would you like that, Libby? I can read you a couple of lovely poems, or a couple of bits and pieces from a nice book. Let's see what we've got here. I've got something soothing, I think. I'm going to go for my usual. I'll go for this Khalil Gibran, because I do love him, and I love his work. So I shall read something for you, Libby, from here. Hopefully it might make you feel a little bit calmer. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Something nice. I'm going to do friendship, because we're all friends here, so I'm going to read you something about friendship. And a youth said, "Speak to us of friendship." And he answered, saying, "Your friend is your needs answered. He is your field which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving. And he is your board and your fireside. For you come to him with your hunger, and you seek him for peace. When your friend speaks his mind, you fear not the nay and your own mind, nor do you withhold the eye. And when he is silent, your heart ceases not to listen to his heart. For without words in friendship, all thoughts, all desires, all expectations are born and shared, with joy that is unacclaimed. When you part from your friend, you grieve not. For that which you love most in him may be clearer in his absence, as the mountain to the climber is clearer from the plain. And let there be no purpose in friendship, save the deepening of spirit. For love that seeks aught but the disclosure of its own mystery is not love, but a net cast forth, and only the unprofitable is caught. And let your best be for your friend. If he must know the ebb of your tide, let him know its flood also. For what is your friend, that you should seek him with hours to kill? Seek him always with hours to live. For it is his to fill your need, but not your emptiness. And in the sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. For it is his to fill your need, but not your emptiness. And in the sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. Well, I hope you found your morning now, and I hope that you're feeling better soon. And Libby, and I hope that that's helped you a little bit with getting yourself up and out and sorted. I think that, yeah, I mean, Elise says yes, pets. Elise is saying, you know, pets really help with things. I mean, I have to say, it's taken me almost 2 years to get another dog, and he's actually asleep down by my feet, so I'm not going to pick him up and show you, but he's so cute. But it's taken me almost 2 years after my last dog died, and our last dog was like massively part of the family. Uh-oh, I've got a delivery and somebody's at my door, so please ignore the noise that's going to come in a minute. And he was a massive part of our family, and it took me a long time to get the courage to take on another animal, because it's like having a child. You have to be ready for it, really. Maybe you don't have to be ready for it. But you have to be in the right space. And I'm absolutely thrilled that we've got our little Clemmy Bear. He's an absolute cutie. He's so, so sweet, and he's so lovely. But it is like having a little baby teenager on 4 legs. And he is so good, but he does have his moments, especially when he has his zoomies, and he gets really kind of a little bit boisterous, and he's testing out his little growl, and he's testing out all of his stuff. But when he calms down, and he's so loving, and he's just so cuddly and snuggly and gorgeous. And I just think I'm so glad that I went and got him when I did, because my leg was still, I've had him for 3 weeks. Is it 3 weeks? Or just over 2 weeks now. And it will be 3 weeks at the weekend, so it's 2.5 weeks. And when I got him, I was feeling really not very well. And I thought, shall I do this? Because I knew I was going to have to be getting up early with him, possibly in the middle of the night, taking him outside, all sorts of things. And with a bad leg going up and down the stairs, not much fun. But I took him, and he's been such a part of my healing. And it's been an amazing process having him around. It's been amazing having him around me. And now he's sort of sitting under my desk at my feet, just keeping me warm like a little hot water bottle. He's so sweet. He's got a bed in here. He's got everything he wants in here. But he doesn't. He ignores it, and he just wants to be kind of right next to me. And at night it's the same. He just wants to be, he's on my bed. He's got his own bed on my bed. But obviously he wants to be cuddled up next to me. Next to my legs, next to my tummy. Wherever it is, he just wants to be next to me. If he gets much further up the bed towards my face, I put him in his bed, and then he just sort of settles down. But it's so, so sweet. So anyway, I think, yes, animals are a great healer. They really are. And something to focus on other than the badness of what's going on with your gammy leg. Martin says his cat's become his best friend. Well, there we go, you see. Libby says 6 dog cats laying next to me right now. Oh, Libby's got lots of dogs as well. 6 dog cats, dogs, cat. Maybe she's got dogs and a cat. That's a lot of animals. Right, okie dokie now. I hope that that's all right. If there's any other comments, would you like to ask me any questions or anything now? And then otherwise, I am going to love you and leave you. And I'm going to let you get on with the rest of your day. And I shall get on with the rest of mine. There are things I want to do. There are places I need to go. Clemmy's having his first groom today at the groomers. So that's going to be interesting. So I'm sure I'll have a little video later of what that's all turned out like. So let's hope that he's going to be a good boy for that. I think he will be. I mean, I think that when I picked him up from the breeder, he had already had a little bit of a trim and a snip here and there because he was looking super cute. And a little bit of a teddy bear face going on. So I'm sure that he'll be fine, and he'll probably really enjoy it. And then I will start grooming him every day, brushing him every day, so he gets used to that. And his teeth as well, because we don't want to have yucky teeth. Right, let's just see if there's any more comments here. Libby says thank you, and oh, she's got 1 cat, and probably lots of dogs then. Okie dokie then, I'm going to love you and leave you guys, and I will see you soon. But don't forget my lovely book. If you want to bring yourself a little bit of peace and calm, this is the perfect companion to that. It's available to pre-order in my link tree. You can get it from Amazon. If you go through my link tree, it's great because then I get a little bit of a cut from Amazon, so that'd be amazing. It's available all over the world. It's coming out in the US and United States and Canada and the rest of the world on the 29th of October, and it's going to be available here in the UK from Thursday, from the 24th. So wish me well on that, and I really, really hope you have a fabulous, fabulous day, and lots of love. And Libby, what breed is he? My dog is a Cavapouchon, so he's one of those silly little kind of poodly kind of teddy bear dogs. I mean, he's just beautiful. He's gorgeous, and he's got a lovely temperament. So he's a quarter Cavalier King Charles. He's a quarter Bichon Frise, and he's a half. His dad was a half. Is a toy poodle. So he's a real fluff ball. Exactly. He's a fluffy boy. And I thank you, Elise. I'm sure that Clemmy will enjoy his haircut because he does love a little bit of fuss and attention. So I'm hoping that he's going to absolutely love it later on today. And Martin says, nice meeting you all. Lovely to meet you too. And I shall love you and leave you. Give you a big kiss and say goodbye. And don't forget, if any of you are in Surrey and Cobham on the 24th at 6:30, come and meet me, have a glass of wine, and get me to sign your book for you, for your friends or for whoever. Anyway, lots and lots of love, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Take care and have a fabulous day. Bye bye.